Be strong.
Something new that we get to enjoy on a Saturday night. IndyCar racing from Velocity Online Racing. We welcome you in after 2 preseason weeks. The show begins tonight, season number 4 of this IndyCar series that yours truly actually got to partake in back in season 2 and a little bit of season 3. This is the Velocity Online Racing series, and we have a fun oval night of racing in line for you this evening from Homestead, Miami Speedway. Welcome in. I am the captain, and we appreciate you joining us for the running of the Faster and Faster 250 at Homestead, Miami Speedway. This mile-and-a-half oval with progressive banking going to be the setting for race number 1 of the season, number 4 of tonight's race in this season. Again, the 4th season of fantastic racing in store for you going on. So right now we have practice going on as we get these cars going and get the season started on this awesome schedule that is going to be coming up here throughout. Actually, as my Discord comes across the page there for a second, forgive me. I thought I had everything off the screen, but we've got a lot of great things lined up. A lot of things are the same. Some things are different. One thing that's the same, the Indy cars, predominantly on ovals in this series. When you look at Homestead Miami Speedway being the first race, we will go to Indianapolis this season. We'll go to Pocono this season. We have some great racing, a Legacy Phoenix track. So a lot of great things on the schedule in place coming up here this season. A couple of other things, though, that you're going to see are some new sponsorships. And, of course, this race tonight is known as the Faster and Faster 250. What is the Faster and Faster? Well, believe it or not, it's a book. If you've have kids that enjoy books, well, this is something for you, because basically it's set up some of the sport's most iconic venues. Faster and Faster is a children's guide to motorsport. It's little speedsters, green flag to the electrifying world of competitive auto racing and many disciplines. This book was written by Christian Alejo, who is in the field tonight. It was forwarded by 1998 IndyCar Rookie of the Year and 2-time Indy 500 driver Robbie Unser. It's a quick read. It's fun. It's a colorful journey through the grassroots hobby level of amateur ranks to the Saturday night barn burners at your local track and so much more, all the way up to those highest echelons of professional driving. You can check it out on Amazon.com. Right now, it is, of course, Faster and Faster. That is written by Christian Alagio, who is in the field tonight. With that being said, also, tonight, one of the things is still the same. Race First, sponsoring the $100 prize pool for the top 5 drivers in the points championship when it is all over with. So a lot of, again, things are the same like the points pool for the drivers. And one thing that is different, actually, is the schedule. Because, as you know, in this league, they do like to mix it up a little bit with races on the schedule, so on and so forth. So we will flash Discord across the page here and show you the schedule. Tonight, Homestead, Miami Speedway. Next week, we go to Michigan Speedway for 150 laps. And then one of 2 road courses on the schedule. Barber Motorsports Park, that'll be April 17th. The 24th, there's that Legacy Phoenix Raceway. This is the old one with grass and stuff on the track. That will be on the 24th of April, Texas Motor Speedway. Road America, which will be actually after this race tonight, will be there coming up in May. Pocono Raceway, June 5th, June 19th, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Vegas on June 26th. So there's your schedule right now. As of this week, 9 races scheduled for the series, so it should be a lot of fun as they go into the race this evening. Another feature I do want to show you is the Homestead Miami Speedway on track, and this is all brought to you by Race First, of course, the series sponsor of this VOR series. This is basically some race notes that Julian Altena, who is in the league, yeah, I guess I better get that off the screen. I'll put the schedule back up in a second. Puts together for all the people to see. So if you look at the yellow marks on the screen, that's the pit entry. You notice that turn 3 you have to use tonight as part of the series, and then the exit over in turn 2. Last time they ran here, season number 2, Ryland Dulsbury, I believe that's how that's pronounced, won the race. 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. We'll do 167 laps tonight and 250 miles around this mile-and-a-half track from 18 degrees up to 20 degrees of banking. That is what we're looking at this evening. Next week, I will likely have these printed out onto graphics on the OBS, and I'll be able to show you guys a little more flawlessly. Here's that schedule, by the way. So, thank you guys for working with me, and let me know audio tonight too, because I did have to set up a new scene on OBS for the series this week, and obviously there could be some audio issues and stuff. So just be on a lookout for me. I'm going to try to listen on my phone and catch them myself. But you guys have always the best. You got my back, and I appreciate it, so it should be a lot of fun. So, but yeah, welcome to a new channel here on Captain TV. Shout out to, obviously, the previous broadcaster, I believe it was Turn 3 Network, for doing a great job with this series, the first 3 seasons. But here's our time to shine, and we're going to have some fun. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Chris Skala. The Captain is my nickname, and we are part of Captain TV. I'm a one-man show, basically, that focuses on these drivers. And we like to have a good old time tonight, as we do over in the iRacing series, which is a, you could almost say a twin series to this, but predominantly road courses instead of ovals. This series, more ovals than road courses. We broadcast there, and we're here now for this series on Saturday nights. So look forward to having you come and join us. Hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't already, and you can be a part of the series. But I am someone who has broadcasted now on iRacing for a couple years, but have a degree in broadcasting, and yeah, I've done plenty of high school football games and stuff like that, and we're looking forward to hopefully letting you guys enjoy the action tonight, and hopefully I don't bore you too much. So with that being said, let's take a look right now how qualifying is looking, and how about this? Kind of an upset right now. Tony Patty has gone to the pole with a 25.49 over, I should say, Joe Harmon. Let's go out here and see if any cars are on track right now. As a matter of fact, we do have somebody, as AJ Musselman, going to be on the track here. And let's throw up our qualifying box that you can see right here. Is Austin Sarr also on track? We'll see how the ticker looks here. It's yellow right now. If it goes purple, he has a shot at the pole. If it's, of course, yellow, then he's on the same lap. Green means a faster lap as he pulls off right now. And And I do not see anyone else taking a lap right now. Is Diego Pereno going to take a lap? He will. So let's follow him here around this 1.5 mile Homestead Miami Speedway. You see the sun starting to set. This race will end under the lights tonight here as the Castro Delara Honda down the back straightaway speeds at about 210 to 215 down into turn number 3. Down here in the 18-degree part of the track. Diego, 25:45. That's the pole time. 25:83 is his time. He is P21. But should be able to go faster, I would think, on this lap. A lot of cars not qualifying for this race. Either have had issues or have decided not to qualify. Nicholas Sudik is on track also. Diego, 25:74. He goes a little bit faster. Still, though, P21. Let's go down to Nick here. Nick, actually, I'm sorry, he's running still. He's actually P3, so I missed that a little bit. All good. So, yeah, it looks like qualifying just about over. And while they wait here, they got 10 minutes of qualifying, so we have a couple extra minutes here, and we'll. Is Christian Allegio going to come out? As AJ Musselman, by the way, has jumped up to the pole. Must have missed when that updated to 25:46. So Musselman going to be somebody to compete with in this series up there at the top. There's Dakota DeMay, or DeMay, I should say. Found out I was saying his name wrong the whole time. There's Christian out on track right now. So last season, season number 3 of the series, saw Isaac Morris win the points by 13 over Alex Van Desant. Dakota DeMay finished 30 points back in 3rd. Luis Gonzalez Nunez 4th, and Matt Houston 5th. And we'll see with the new faces we have, some of the familiar faces coming back. Should be interesting. Oh, Dakota to the pole. The Sunset Arctic Games car. You might have saw the purple down there at the bottom. He has jumped to P1 by 2/100 over AJ Musselman. And he's even faster on this lap, it looks like right now. Zalagio, 25:57 is P12. As Dakota crosses the line and goes a little bit slower, actually, 25:50 on that lap. So more cars doing some qualifying here as we still have about 3 minutes to go in the qualifying session. As I mentioned, Matt Houston was the 5th place finisher. He's a part of Raceverse. They're sponsoring the series again this season. They will put up, again, $100. Yeah, $100 pool for the top 5 drivers in the series this season. So we appreciate them doing that. Also, big thanks to Julian Altena and Robert, whose last name has slipped my mind. Sadler. I don't know how I forget that. For helping me up. Sorry about that, Robert. I was trying to remember your name and it was slipping my mind. But Robert and Julian have done a great job setting me up with all the information I need for the race, getting me everything for the broadcast and so much more. So much appreciative. And, of course, each week I'll look to improve what I can for you guys. Constructive criticism, as long as it's respectful, is always warranted on the stream. But I do appreciate everybody watching at least, and hopefully they enjoy it tonight. But yeah, $100 prize pool, the top 5. Of course, brought to you by Raceverse. So there we go. Still got about 2 minutes to go in qualifying. We'll try to get some interviews with drivers this evening and so much more. Question's going to be, what will we see tonight at Homestead? Will it become a handling race? Will it be drafting? Will we see a mixture of both? I think Homestead has that capability of doing that. I mean, I've run the last couple weeks in iRacing. I've run Chicagoland and Kansas. Obviously, this track's a lot like Chicagoland, which was a big handling track when we were out there racing. And Kansas, a little bit of the same, but a lot of the draft also. So I think you're going to see both come into play this evening. But eventually, I think when these tires wear out and they get to about lap 40 or so in their run right before their green flag pit stop, if they get one tonight, I think at that point you'll see these cars kind of spread out a little bit. And you'll see the cars that have saved tires and done a good job of preserving will work their way up to the front, and those who maybe burnt their stuff up start falling backwards. So it looks like unless something changes, Dakota DeMay is going to be the pole sitter tonight in the Sunset Arctic Games number 82 car, and this will be his first career pole as the starting lineup will go across the top of your screen. AJ Musselman, he will start P2 on the grid this evening as the cars now start to pop up on the grid. There they are. Alex Van de Sant, second in points last season. He will start P3 tonight alongside Race Versus Matt Houston. Tony Patty will start in the 5th position. Nicholas Sudik making his debut tonight, I believe, in the 87, going to start in the 6th position. Cohen Evans, the 37 car. He will start alongside Joe Harleman. His son Ben watching on the stream tonight. Antonio Estrada in the 74 car, another rookie you'll notice in the field. He will start next against, wow, look at my language here. Start next to Samo Lampert. Shane Coogan, Lewis Woodall in row number 6, Michael Schoonert, and Gavin Sanders. Gavin, one to watch. He is going to be a sneaky rookie this season in that 10 car. He'll start 14th. The champion, Isaac Morris, will start 15th inside row number 8 alongside Christian Allegio. Thomas Geisler, another good driver there in that number 18. He'll start next to Oscar Fredrickson. Austin Saar making his debut tonight. He'll start next to Anthony Concha. Christian Jasper and Michael Poole, they will complete row number 11. Row 12, Craig Forsyth, who I believe is still racing with paddles. As you know, he had some foot surgery on both feet, actually, so feet surgery, as we'd call that. And because of that, he is racing with paddles. So he'll start 23rd against next to Julian Altena, who is the fastest car in practice. Gary Gonzo, Tyler Coogan, row number 13, row 14, Krista Nelson, and Jose Miguel Phillips. Can't see the total name of his there on my telemetry here, so apologize for that, Jose. Jonathan Duncan, Diego Pereno going to be the final 30 starters. So 15 rows, 30 starters going to go racing tonight for 167 laps. Again, we've had a couple preseason races, Indianapolis and then Road America last week, and they were fantastic. If that's anything to show you what is coming up here tonight, you're in for some great IndyCar racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway. As I mentioned, 167 laps, 250 miles of racing, as the pace car, which I have nicknamed the iRacing, what have I called it? I've done lost the name in my head. That's why I write things down, Chris. Anyways, VOR, Velocity Online Racing, home on Captain TV. Season 4 begins right now with Dakota DeMed taking the green flag. And caution is out on lap 1 here. They did not even get to turn 4. And caution is out. And is Julian Altena in this? Oh, Julian, the fastest car in practice, destroyed on lap 1. Oscar Fredrickson involved also. He is on pit road. Christian Jasper on pit road. Look at these destroyed cars. A big wreck. Let's see where this starts. Now, Gary Gonzo, I believe, started the race from the pit road, so This is Julian right here. And Julian checks, or that's Oscar Fredrickson, I'm sorry, checks up big time. I don't know if he missed his shift, but gets clobbered by the 40 of Michael Poole. I see the 67 of Jasper gets a piece up into the wall. They go. And Julian, Julian gets big net code. Here we show this in slow-mo, but Julian has net code happen to him. So 4 cars involved here. All right, let's watch it now at full speed here. And I remember now, it's the iRacing Ghost 4X. That's what the car is called. Let's go on board with Julian here. Oh, you know what? I'm on board with Oscar again. Here's Julian. There's the wreck. Julian's okay here. That was net code. Major net code. That's a bummer. All right. Well, caution number 1 has come out on track. At lap number 2, and Dakota's led all 3 laps so far this evening. And I mentioned the pace car, the iRacer Ghost 4X is what I've named it, because everybody's confused on what this car really is. I mean, I think it's a mixture of international cars, so I figure it's an iRacing prototype. So call it I'm making an iRacing name, the Ghost 4X. Yeah, Michael, that's a bummer, man. I'm sorry to see that, dude. But the one thing about this channel, too, open chat. Feel free if you want to chat with me throughout the race, you can do so. I do have a chat channel up on my screen so I can see all questions or anything that needs asked. If you want to talk about anything, if you want to vent, as long as you keep it clean, I have no problem doing that. Julian knows the rules. And an unfortunate deal for those 4 cars involved. Lap number 1, Julian, I hate to tell you this, but it's net code on your end. You had about a foot of space. Oh. So Oscar's VR went bye-bye. Probably the main reason why I haven't gone VR is because of that. Because I'm just like, I don't know if I can trust a technology on my eyes. I mean, I got what I need right in front of me on the screen. You know? I mean, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with VR, but I just don't know if I could trust it in a race car. But I'm sorry to see that, guys. All right, so a little bit of a rough start. But we'll get it back going green here on lap number 6 of this Faster and Faster 250. Again, this is race number 1 of 9 you'll see here on Captain TV. Some cool settings we like to do for you. We like to put the track map up in the top right corner. You'll see where all the cars are on the grid, or where they are in the field, or even on the track at the time. You also see the weather and the time of the race at the moment. So you can decide when darkness and all that good stuff's coming. Try to get you all the information you need. Here we go. Let's try it again. Green flag back out. Dakota, AJ Musselman, Alex Van de Sant. See cars going back there, spreading out 2, 3, 4 wide, all scattering. And here comes AJ to the bottom. That draft coming into play. And AJ Musselman going to take the lead off 4. Nope, that Highline's going to get the run, and Dakota's going to come back. Actually listening to a second on my stream, just making sure everything sounds good here. But these two do not want to give up the lead right away here. And this is what's great about Homestead. The shortest way around is the bottom, but the more banking and the more speed to carry off the top. So you're going to see side-by-side racing like this. Alex Van de Sant probably in the back saying, dude, can we figure this out, please? Someone, please. This is my old school cam. So Musselman going to take the lead finally from Dakota. And Alex Van de Sant going to now fight for the second position up here. Matt Houston about a second back and forth. We got a whole big old dog fight back there as these guys settle it out for a second. Let's jump back here. Lewis Woodall, the 10th position, trying to go past Antonio Estrada. I tried to roll the R's and failed. Sorry. Oop, a little bit of warp, not warp smoke, but lag smoke they call that. Basically when a car blinks on track, that's kind of situation you get out of that. But a lot of these cars running their fastest laps, a few laps into this run as these tires start to get maximum grip before they'll start to fall off. The cool thing about these cars is they do have tools to use in the car. You'll hear us talk about anti-roll bars and weight jacker in these cars. You can adjust those couple of things in the car, and it'll actually help loosen or oversteer the car more and create an understeer situation too if your car has too much over. Got to be careful though because you're going to watch out for the old snap loose. Michael Schoonert made an unscheduled pit stop. He is coming back out 3 laps down right now in the 24th position. And back up front, Musselman has about a half second over Dakota DeMed, Alex Van de Sant, Matt Houston, and Nick Sudik in the top 5 with Cohen Evans. Biggest mover in the field already is Viguera. That is the name of Jose Miguel Phillips, Viguera. And I will easily argue that potentially could be the biggest name in VOR history. Back to this battle for 10th position, Estrada and Woodall. 10th and 11th here. Right behind him, Gavin Sanders, that 10 car. He is going to be sneaky good, I think, this season. Thomas Geisler, Christian Allegio back there also. "15 laps complete, and the 91 car was stopped on the back straightaway. Tony Patty had issues. Was able to get off track before the caution comes out. But issues for Tony Patty and a destroyed left front. Let's see what happened to him. It's all up on the map on the top right. The 91 car was sitting on the back straightaway, so unfortunate deals for him after having a really good start in this race. Let me guess, the seam? Oh yes, there's your snap oversteer, and oh, that's a hard lick. Now the seams here are tricky, and that could have easily put a roll in this deal too. A little bit of seam, a little bit of oversteer, all creating that wreck, and Tony Patty into the inside wall hard. And unfortunately my bad jokes are going to come out here, but he flattened that front end like a patty. So Woodall was able to hold off Estrada, but not only that, Gavin Sanders and Thomas Geisler were able to get past the 74 cars to move him back 3 spots down to 13th. Great racing throughout the field. Let's check on Christian Allegio, the author behind that book, Faster and Faster. Get it on Amazon today. matter of fact, what I'm going to do for you right now. There's Christian doing a good job up here. Right now running up in the top 15 right now. In the 14th position. The battle is on for second. Dakota DeMay and Alex Van de Sant. They continue this fight. As you see the sun starting to set over the Turn 4 front stretch area there. That sun actually going to play a little bit of a role on these drivers, I believe. I mean, this track is built just a few miles north of where you enter into the Keys down US 1 in Florida. Over near the Florida Turnpike. About 30 minutes or so south of the Miami area. Built in 1995, built on a mill site that was destroyed in Hurricane Andrew. That, of course, went through this area of Florida in 1992, August 24th to be exact. You might ask how I remember that date off the top of my head. Simple. I grew up 2 hours north of Miami, and if you live anywhere near Miami, Hurricane Andrew is a name that will never leave your mind. Especially if you're somebody my age who was 6 at that moment when Andrew hit 92. So, of course, destroyed Homestead, and they built this track. It started off as a mini Indianapolis, was a rectangle, and then after a few pretty major incidents and unfortunately a couple of deaths at the track, they reconfigured it into a flat oval. And then eventually to the format you see now since 2003, which is a multi-banked oval. Nice crossover move right here. This is a fight that has wood on. We got caution out trouble. Austin Saar has spun it over in turn 3, and he's got heavy rear damage. Austin Saar, who's coming off a 4th place finish at Road America, has wrecked it on lap number 24. Caution number 2 on the track. Well, let's go back and let's see what happens as we roll that beautiful beam footage. Austin running that ultimate bottom. Oh, a little oversteer there, and he smashes the outside wall. Probably getting, and the oversteer can be so tricky because it can, that was dangerous. It can happen from just oversteer. It could from just turning too much wheel into the car. So many things that can cause this to happen. Let's go on board with them. As most of the leaders are coming to pit road here. Actually, we'll come back and look at this wreck here in a second. Let's go to pit road. Matt Houston actually is going to stay out as the others come in. Should see pretty much 4 tires and fuel. Race off pit road. Musselman going to get it. So we'll see how these fresh tires come into play here when it's all said and done. As Musselman, DeMay, Van de Sant, Coogan, and Sudik going to be your first 5 off pit road, but Matt Houston stays out. Let's go back again real quickly to the replay. And I want to look closely on board of his car because this is going to show you potentially. Wheels not turned that bad there. Turn 3 and 4 looks okay. Down into turn 1 is going to go to the bottom here. You know what I've noticed, and I'll bring it up again, and I'm going to slow it down here for you to see it. But watch really closely as he comes up the track here, and this is where it gets tough. There are seams on this track that separate the banking. And as soon as we get into a view here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so the black line that you see right here, just to the right of the post there in the middle of the halo thing, you'll see, I forget what the device is called. But he comes up the track, and there's another seam right there, and he hits it, and that snaps that car loose. You got to try to have the car straight at that moment. It's just part of Homestead right there. Brings out the caution for the second time this evening as Matt Houston leads him down the back straightaway. So pace car lights back on, and should get the one to go this time by. And let's take a second here, and I notice we have a guest knocking on my door up here in the booth. So let's we'll bring him in here and talk to him as Julian Altena. I keep getting the name wrong. I'm working on it. Takes practice. All the year of it. But I'm going to get it right eventually as Julian joins us from, unfortunately, the garage area already after that lap 1 net code, we'll call it, that got your car involved. Julian, let's talk on the racing side real quickly. What did you see and what happened on your situation there?
Yeah, so obviously going into turn 1 at the race start, I went into turn 1 and on the front straight already, Oscar was on the team chat saying that his VR went black. And I saw him kind of go up high, and I mean, from VR, I'm driving in VR myself, so usually it gets back after like a split second. So I was kind of hoping for that and kind of really expecting it to be back after a split second too. Oscar was up high, and I was up high as well. And as soon as I realized that Oscar's car was slowing down, I tried to move to the inside, but of course I was starting near the back as well, but I still had a few cars behind me, I do believe. So I didn't want to come down on the track right away, so I was a little bit careful in that, perhaps shouldn't have been. But I avoided the incident itself, and then, like you mentioned on the broadcast earlier, which I watched back, there was quite a bit of net code involved in that, so that was really unfortunate, really frustrating too, because last season has been quite a big disappointment for us overall as a team, not really having been where we want to be, and to start a new season like this is just really frustrating, but it is what it is.
You see the green has come back out. Matt Houston on the older tires right now. How much of a strategy move can this work for Matt? Is the clean air more important than these tires?
It really depends on the situation of the race. I think in this part of the race, it might be worth it because the race is going to even itself out later on with the fuel strategy being quite important towards the end. I have seen some pretty good racing here in this race so far, but the incidents are likely to happen on these big ovals, so make sure to watch that later on and maybe have some yellows to get Matt back into the pit cycle.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that goes because he has not been on pit road yet, so I'm expecting he will probably be on pit road in the next 20 to 25 laps, so he's about halfway into a fuel run right now. As you see Musselman kind of getting freight trained a little bit here. Shane Coogan around the outside. Van de Sant's going to come to his inside here and try to make a move with that momentum. But Julian, let's talk a little bit about the schedule and the season coming up. Your 4th season in action here at VOR. A lot of great tracks on the schedule, including a driver-friendly Michigan Speedway next week.
It depends what you consider driver-friendly. There is a nasty little seam on the front stretch. But other than that, it is indeed a pretty driver-friendly oval. It's a big oval as well. The first round of the Triple Crown. The unofficial Triple Crown, I have to add. There's not anything special to it other than the races are 300 miles in length. But yeah, it's a big oval. You might even see some pack racing there for the first couple of laps, but that is next week on the 3rd of April.
Well, it looks like Lewis Woodall had a issue on the front straightaway here. Let's see. Goes down into turn 3 and 4 here, down that low line again. At least I think it was in turn 3 and 4. He got off 3 and 4 there pretty well. Into turn 1. And I think the one thing we saw just now with SAR, and I wonder if we're going to see it here, is again that bottom line. And he goes into the wall hard. That was just like, who was it a little bit ago? Tony Patty hit the wall just like that earlier. Is that an issue where people are turning the wheel too much and it's snapping? Because it looked like in that case he was actually shy of the seam up there at the top of turn 2, which can spin a car out.
Yeah, there's quite a few combinations of stuff that can happen to your car. For example, if you turn the wheel too much, hit a seam, you can loop the car around. If you get off the banking from the turns onto the back or front straightaway, you can do that. But also if you are right behind the car in front, then you suddenly get clean or dirty air. The car can just spin itself around. And you are either going to spin to the inside and survive, or you're going to spin onto the wall and your day is done.
Matt Houston's been able to hold on so far with an 0.8 of a second lead over Dakota DeMay. Shane Coogan up to 3rd after starting at 11th. Musselman and Van de Sant, your top 5. We were starting to talk about the schedule before the Woodall wreck happened, but talk about the rest of it, because you got 2 road courses on the schedule. You got a Legacy Oval on the schedule also this season, and a track that some people think back to that tragic deal that happened back in the 2011-2012 season. Las Vegas Motor Speedway going to be the finale for the series.
Yeah, that was 2011, by the way, the death of Dan Weldon. Still dearly missed in the sport, I have to add to. But yeah, we, of course, like I've mentioned earlier, next week on the 3rd of April we go to Michigan. Then we have a week break, so we are not racing on the 10th of April, but then we are back on the 17th for 60 laps at Barber Motorsports Park. Then we go to Legacy Phoenix 2008 for 150 laps there on the 24th of April. Then we have another week's break before heading to Texas on the 8th of May. Also the same distance as tonight at Homestead, so 400 kilometers or 250 miles, 167 laps. Then we have 1 week break again until we go to Road America for 45 laps there. And then there is another week break due to the Indy 500 happening on the 29th, 30th of May weekend. So we are not racing then. On the 5th of June we are returning for the second race of the Triple Crown at Pocono, 300 miles, and then 2 weeks later we head to Indianapolis, 300 miles there on the 19th of June, and then to finish off the season, Las Vegas, 400 kilometers in length and 167 laps.
It's a fantastic schedule, especially those who like oval racing, which I'm a big fan of IndyCar oval racing. I think they do a good job, and you see why right here on the screen. Back here in the 14th, 15th, 16th position, you've got Vigera. As we'll have to check with you, by the way, Julian, is this the longest name in VOR history? Jose Miguel Phillips Vigera?
It's a no-brainer, yes.
Antonio Estrada, Craig Forsyth, Kristen Nelson, 3 wide off turn 4. They don't do this in IndyCar racing. Yeah, they do. But no, a fantastic schedule, and as you see, a good group of guys, because these guys go out here and a lot of them know each other. Some different newcomers into the series, but you know what? They've adjusted. You've had 2 fantastic preseason races, so I think you're going to see nothing but great racing throughout this season.
Yeah, exactly. And like you've mentioned, these guys pretty much know each other since from racing in other leagues, and I've actually known personally most of these drivers for a couple of months already, also racing in other leagues. So it is great to have these drivers in here. A very talented bunch of drivers too, so it's going to be a competitive season.
Well, Julian, we wish you nothing but the best in the season. If you want to hang out, we got one car up in the wall here, turn 4. Joe Harleman, and comes down the track right in front of the other cars. Oh, that was, I think the banking made him come down the track, but Joel brings out the 3rd caution of the race, and he has lost both of his front tires on this car. But it looks like a single car accident in turn number 3 and 4. Brings out the 3rd caution. I was about to say, if you want to hang out, you can hang out. If you want to go do something else, you can go do something else, but the room's obviously more than open. But let's see here. Turn 1 and 2, again down there on the bottom. and brings it kind of shallow off the corner. Got a car there behind him down the straightaway, goes into turn 3. Oh, and tries to bring her down to the bottom of the track, and the car was there. I'm not sure if his spotter didn't tell him or something there, but just come down, and there was a car waiting on him. That's a tough situation there, but you know what? This is a great break for Matt Houston, who's going to get this caution at lap number 45. And the question now, if you're Matt, and it looks like as the answer is yes, he's coming to pit road now, and he's going to be able to pretty much get on or stay on a cycle here, which could have him pitting maybe on a 3-stopper. But you know what? He's bringing a lot of the leaders with him. Musselman, Sanders, Sudik, Geisler, Forsyth, all coming with him to pit road here. Julian, what'd you see there?
I am actually launching iRacing right now without VR to help you with the broadcast.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. You can do that, and I'll also do this. Normally you get Gary Godso joining you for races, so Gary's out there racing right now. Still no offense, Julian. Yeah, he's going to join us, and I'll actually share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at, even though you can look on the stream also. But you can see it live right there for you. And
I'm not as up-to-date with IndyCar statistics as Gary, but I will try my best for you all.
Gary's a pretty genius guy, but no, I would expect you being across the pond over there that you're more of a Formula 1 guy, as they like to say.
Yes. Gary is basically a living Wikipedia.
That is a fact right there. I could probably go pop a question to him right now and he'd answer to him just without even hesitating in a breath.
That is true, yes.
So you talked about your struggles last season. What were you looking at doing potentially this season? What kind of adjustments in your racing style were you looking at doing to kind of get out of that slump, even though it kind of did not work tonight?
Yeah, so I think, speaking for myself mainly, but also partially for the rest of my team, I think the new tire model update kind of played a big part in that, because we are obviously used to racing the ovals, so I must admit, and I don't like to admit it, but I must admit there might have been a little bit of arrogance in that we kind of knew our way around the ovals. We didn't really feel the need to practice as much as we should have done. I don't want to take anything away from a couple of drivers on our team. Some have practiced quite a bit and just had bad luck. But myself, really, I didn't really practice as much as I should have done, which I'm trying to step up for this season. Didn't really get much time this weekend to practice because my birthday is actually right now. But yeah, so I didn't really get much time to practice for this one, but I'm aiming to get some good race stints in from Michigan and of course Barber as well, which is a road course, so that's quite important. But practice is the main key to success right now.
Well, happy 24th birthday. I'm kidding.
24th. I wish I was 24. I could drink.
No, don't. So you're thinking that right off the bat. No. There are plenty of other things about being an adult that's not so good. So enjoy your age. Let's just put it like that.
Yes,
but
not paying taxes.
Yes, enjoy it. But no, in all seriousness, happy birthday. In that situation, and going back to your comment, I think that's really easy to do because you, myself included, being somebody that predominantly raced stock cars, I've done a lot of IndyCar racing lately, some dirt racing. Somebody like me can easily put my hat on and say, you know what, I'm going out here and run these IndyCars because I'm flat-footing it all around Homestead. But what people don't realize is this isn't the old Dallara 2009 or 10, whatever, the basic IndyCar we used to run on iRacing where you could flat-foot it everywhere. These cars have so much aerodynamics in it now that you've got to work the draft, but you got tools you got to use, and you got to play with the throttle to keep the car under you, or else you're going to knock the wall down.
Yes, and there's also the downforce cut that has been played a part in these cars for a long time now. Of course, we had the tragic accident about Dan Weldon that we've talked about briefly a few moments ago. That was actually the moment that started the kind of era that IndyCar is in right now. It kind of all took all the ovals off the schedule. Of course, we had a lot of 1.5 mile ovals back then in 2010-11, the IRO 5 era, and then we got the DW12, and there were actually some pretty major downforce cuts for the Texas race, as we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. So pack racing is not really as common anymore. We've seen it a few times, mainly at Texas as well. A 1.5 mile high bank track, but really with the new aero kit dropping a lot of downforce levels again from the original DW12 chassis. So the OVA racing right now, it is not pack racing, but it is still really good racing. You can see Van Zandt and Shane Coogan going wheel to wheel.
Yep, Alex going to the inside. You mentioned that oval racing has changed a lot, and the DW12 was named after Dan Weldon. And then the only race that mainly comes to my head when I think of the pack racing was the race a couple seasons ago at Auto Club. That was the race where, I forget who it is, went flying on the final lap onto his top.
Brian Briscoe.
Briscoe, yes, and Will Power was on a rant after the race like, this is going to kill somebody. Yeah, pretty much that's the one race that comes to my mind is Shane Coogan goes to the front. The 29 looking pretty good here this evening.
But Shane is doing a good job indeed, and I just heard Craig Forsyth on the radio. He is happy to be here where he is right now.
He's actually up in the he was up in the top 10 a second ago. He's 11th right now in that 27 car. Again, Craig racing with two hands. That's it. He still healing from the foot surgery, or feet surgery, I should say, back a couple weeks ago. So he's racing with the old paddles. He's doing it the old Alex Zanardi way right now.
Yes, and
credit to him.
I've been in a call earlier with him today. We've been racing in another league as well, the Virtual IndyCar Series. He actually won the race at Texas there today.
Good for him.
And we were talking about his injuries on the voice chat about that, and the pins have actually gone out of his feet right now.
Awesome.
Can't remember exactly anymore, but I think he might have said he's actually racing again with his feet right now.
So that would.
Either way, though, it is very impressive because he must for sure be in quite a little bit of pain if he is doing that. But it is the most natural way for sure.
Well, especially if you haven't rehabbed the feet much, which I'm sure he's done some kind of rehabilitation, but let's face it, pushing a pedal down against a board or whatever he's got it up against, I don't know if that's, I guess it could be some kind of rehab to a point.
Pressing the pedals up and down all the time
I guess that could be kind of a rehab.
So.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so the elephant in the room, as I'll call it, the topic of conversation you and I have had a lot lately. You know, we've known each other for about a year now. As we watch Tyler Coogan, the brother of Shane, to the inside of Cohen Evans in this 59 car. Tyler's going to the front here. So this race first team looking pretty solid here early in this race. Tyler started all the way back in 26th in this race. But Julian, you and I have talked, and I'm trying to get the name right. So for those watching on the stream, how do you say your last name?
Altena.
Altena. I keep saying Altena. So what I'm doing wrong is I'm putting Al in there instead of All. So like the best comparison I think you and I talked about the one day is like Altima, the car, except Altena. That's the best way I can put it.
Mean with Ultima or whatever, but
it's a Nissan car. I don't know if they have that where you are.
Okay. Yeah, we do have Nissan here, but I'm not sure if we have the model over here.
It's pretty much the standard sedan like the Camry or the Corolla or the Civic, stuff like that. So as we watch the battle for second, Dakota Nemeth and Alex Van de Sant. Second place battle on. I'm watching Tyler Coogan back here in the 5th position. But Julian is up here tonight because unfortunately on lap 1, his night ended. A disappointing night for somebody who not only was fastest Thursday night in practice, you were fastest tonight in the warm-up. You guys definitely showed the speed.
Yeah, it is what it is, though. Bad luck is part of the game, so it happens. Next week, Michigan. So, just looking at Gavin Sanders right now in P7, he's in the mix for a fight for position as well. Actually, he's just behind a battle between Isaac Cohen and Tyler, who are quite close together.
Wow, look at the as we're riding the old school cam, as I like to call it. Look at the shield on his helmet. I don't know if that is actual debris or if that's just a glare or something. You can kind of see like what looks like bubbles or something, or marks on his I just like first thing I noticed on that camera.
Yeah, I believe those are time marbles from the tire wear, of course.
That is awesome, considering there's also a screen protecting his helmet. So I don't know how real that would be, but yeah,
it might have dropped down. Who knows?
So these seams out here, were you feeling anything in the car?
You could feel them if you ran right on them throughout the corner, but if you just went over them to adjust your line, also makes a move on, I believe, Isaac Morris here. You can feel it if you drive on them throughout the entire corner, but if you just change your line from the outside to the inside, of, for example, to kind of arc the corner, you don't really feel it that much. It is quite different at tracks like Michigan, though. But overall, don't really notice them around here.
You'll notice them in the stock car, I'll just put it like that. But yeah, in an Indy car, if you hit it right, especially coming off turn 2 right here where you got a bump also, it can be very interesting as Christian Alesio, an unscheduled pit stop for him, just came off of the warm-up lane right here behind the leader. He sits now 2 laps down in the 16th position. So I don't think that was a scheduled pit stop, as even though right now we're about to come up on lap 40 of this run. Fuel mileage-wise, somewhere about 45, 50, maybe even 55 laps in these cars, depending on what kind of fuel mileage you're getting. Easily, what, a 2-stop race, I would say?
Yeah, there was some talk about this pre-race. So going into the race, if the race ran green all the way, you would have done it on 3 stops. But with a couple of yellows, you could do it in 2. As that was actually Gavin Sanders battling with Isaac Morris there. Correction about that. But I believe it is right now a 2-stop race. As there's smoke on the track.
Oh, somebody's in the wall. Who is that? It's Isaac Morris is in the wall. The champion has planted it. Turn 2. No caution yet.
He's done.
Yeah, that car is going to get the old too much damage. We're done as caution now comes out. Isaac Morris. And that is the, what, 3rd solo car spin we've had tonight?
Might have been, yes.
And he did that pretty early. Oh, you know what? He clips the wall off turn 4. I wonder if he had suspension damage.
Yeah, that was probably the case. That was actually what happened.
Oh,
to
yeah,
me as
back
well.
end comes around right there, and oh, he overcorrects it and plants it.
Yeah, after I passed the wreck in on lap 1, turn 1, my rear suspension also broke, so that's probably what happened to Isaac too. You don't really feel it on the straight until you reach the next corner, and then the car just loops itself around and you're done into the wall.
Yeah, which is interesting because I actually ran an IndyCar test at Sebring earlier this week. And I had very slight contact with a car, and it actually had broken my right rear tire. I had no clue. I looked in the mirror. I couldn't see the tire. Everything was fine. All of a sudden, I go into the next corner and it spins right out, and I'm like, what just happened? And they told me, oh, yeah, your right rear tire's gone. Oh.
Yeah, very easy to not really notice that when you're like concentrating onto the next corner, trying to hit the apex, and like you said, it's a surprise when the rear end is just not there and it just spins.
Right. All right, so Cohen's going to come off pit road as Cohen, Sudik, Forsyth, Krista Nelson, who started tail end Charlie, or Charlene, I guess we would say in this case, back in 27th. She's going to come off pit road. Gary Godso, Anthony Concha. But Shane Coogan leading this race. Now, these guys decide to stay out. What are we looking at here? So if we go 50 laps, you're looking at lap 75 for these cars, and then another 50 to get to 125. Is that what we're looking at? Maybe 50 laps to make this that 2-stop race you're talking about? Or is this one of those deals where these guys are going to try to run this out as far as they can go?
Yeah, ideally on 1.5 mile tracks, you want to go as long as possible, even on the 2 mile tracks like Michigan. But if you pit right now and you pit one more time, you're basically going to lose 2 laps. Just going through the pit cycle. So these drivers will be trying to save as much as they can to at least maybe make a short pit stop, which I don't expect them to, but they might want to try to do that. You can go about 45 to 50 laps, yes. So it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers are going to do. But I think the drivers that have pitted more recently are in prime position to take advantage of these yellows, because they're going to be moving to the front with all the pit cycles happening.
So if you think they're going 45 to 50, I'm looking at the top 3 on the pit strategy board here. It's on my screen. They're gone 39 laps now. So obviously this caution is going to stretch it out a little bit more, 47, 48 laps. So, I mean, is 9 laps worth staying out from the pit stop to get what you can get in the pit?
Not sure, to be completely honest with you. This might be the pit lap, though, that they're going to pit this time. And I believe I see one car going to the low side there. So he might be pitting. But yeah, if you are 9 laps off the pit window, then it would make sense to pit right now. But maybe they're expecting one more yellow relatively in the near future. So maybe they can pit then and then get onto kind of a no attack, no chance kind of strategy for the rest of this race. Of course, if you pit later, you can go harder for more.
That's you're playing with fire, I think, on this strategy here, unfortunately. But I mean, so if you pit at lap 75, and let's say at the most you do 50, you're going 125 and then 175, so it would be one stop after that stop. If you go to say a 45 lap strategy, you got you'd pit at, say, if we go to 75, 75 and 45, that gets you out roughly at 120, and then 120 and 45 gets you to 165. So either way, in that 165, you can get 2 more laps out of it. So either way, it's a one-stop strategy. So I guess, is it the case where maybe they're outside their window right now?
Yeah, that could be the case. But of course, like I've mentioned, fuel saving plays quite a big part in this oval racing as well for the IndyCar. So you have to watch for that. But overall, I think, yes, one stop is probably the way to go. But it just depends on how much people will have to save.
There you go. We'll have to see as Shane Coogan's going to bring it back to the green flag here. Exactly 100 laps to go. So from here, if you think of that one-stop strategy, you look at just breaking it up right now by 50, you would go one stop. So we'll have to see, and obviously the more laps to go, the less that number becomes. Here we go. Pace car is in. Don't want to leave that top side open. One car jumping to the bottom there, not to hit Forsyth. And here comes Van de Sant to the bottom. And he will make the pass on the lap car of Christian Allegio. In this series, in IndyCar racing, there is no such thing as a, or at least in this series, I should say, as a lucky dog or anything like that. So they start where they start in the field. The one thing I do want to ask you in this series, is there a certain lap where those cars would go to the back, or is it like that the whole time?
Yeah, I believe it is with 10 to go. If there's another yellow,
okay,
they get sent to the back. Yes.
I knew some are different. So, okay. What's that?
Matt Houston is racing for P5 right now. Gavin Sanders just passed him for P4. So this is a battle to watch, as there's also 2 cars battling for P2. Alexander sent him to go to the mat, so they're going after 2.
Yeah, Gavin and Matt, these two pitted back at lap 45, so they are on that they're on the middle strategy, we'll call it now, because we have the early strategy, which are the cars that pitted lap 26. We have a middle strategy, the 45ers, which so you see Gavin going by Dakota for third. Those tires are coming into play now. And then back here, Cohen Evans on down, pitted at lap 64. They're going to be probably on a fuel strategy move, where they're probably going to be riding around fuel mixture 4 or 5, somewhere in that range, just trying to save fuel in the draft.
Yeah, it is quite easy to save some fuel. Of course, there's also the air push, so you're by nature just going to save a little bit of extra fuel compared to the race leaders. So that's going to help you, but it won't get you much further. You will have to save on your own as well.
Do you also maybe stay into a top gear when that happens instead of shifting down to keep the RPM up?
Yes, 6 gear to save fuel.
There you go. Trying to educate the viewers and myself at the same time. But Alex riding here in second. Gavin Sanders last time by about 0.2 faster than Coogan, 26.18. Running about a second or so off of qualifying pace in this field. And that's even with this track cooling down. 80 degrees right now on the surface, 77 ambient. How about back here, Sudik in the Taco Bell Liv Moss car, we'll call it, trying to get past Forsyth. In front of him, Samo Lampret in at number 7.
Yeah, and Forsyth actually just got past Sudik, so Forsyth is now in 2P8.
Doing a great job tonight, and right behind Samo, Krista Nelson started 27th and up to the top 10, and gonna go for that's Nick going for 8th, right in front of them. So
there's one car really up the racetrack there, losing a lot of momentum as Krista has a look up the inside into turn 3. Let's see if she can make that move happen. Into turn 3 they go. Krista had to get out of that. There was almost a little bit of contact, but just about managed to escape that hit there, as they're still going side by side, and she's actually having a go on Craig now as well.
Yep.
On the inside. makes the pass on Sadiq there. So good job from her to get that position. And she also gets past Craig here.
Seems to have a good handle in race car, able to make that bottom line work. And if you can make that bottom cooperate with you, you will pass cars.
Yep, it might be a temporary advantage though, because the bottom line really does wear out the tires as there's more smoke.
Yeah, it was warp. I looked up too, and I saw somebody warping.
But yeah, about the tires quickly. So the low line, the first lane from the white line up, is 18 degrees. The second lane, the middle groove, is 19 degrees, and the top lane is 20 degrees. So progressive banking around this track. The bottom line can eat up the front tires quite a bit, as she's still going side by side with Craig Forsyth in the 27 machine.
She should clear him. Yep, she will. So move her up to the 8th position. Again, she's got that car handling pretty well. Worked the weight jacker, the anti-roll bar, and all that stuff. Now, I'm going to ask you this question, Julian. Maybe you can help me out, which I kind of know the answer now from driving these cars a lot. But for somebody who's a rookie and has never really driven an IndyCar or watched an IndyCar race, talk a little bit about what the roll bars do and what the weight jacker does, because those are the 3 things you can actually adjust in your car while you're driving.
Yes, so the anti-roll bars, the front roll bar can be used to create or remove understeer from the car, and also the rear anti-roll bar. So what I personally use, if I have an understeer car, I go 1/6 on the roll bars to kind of loosen up the car. If you put the front roll bar lower to, for example, 1, the lowest, you make the rear end the loosest, and 6 on the rear bar. And if you do the opposite, 6-1, so 6 on the front, 1 on the rear, you create push. So if your car is loose, you can do that. That's basically how the roll bars work. And for the weight jacker, it kind of shifts weight across the car from, I believe, the right front to the left rear. So to use that, if you go negative, you can kind of help your loose race car to kind of push up a little bit more, so your car becomes more stable. And if you have a car that is pushing up too much, you can go positive on the weight jacker, and that will loosen up the car and allow you to go through the corner nicely.
There you go. There's your school lesson for the day. There will be a test after the race. Gavin Sanders has moved up to 2nd, and now 8 tenths back from Shane Coogan. Now, Gavin won himself a road race, or I'm trying to remember, did he win Indianapolis or Road America in the preseason? I can't remember off the top of my head. I know he won one of the races, but he's definitely shown his speed out here.
Yeah, Gavin won last week at Road America,
That's
the
right.
preseason race.
Yep, and he's looking for his first actual series win. And yeah, looking
Gavin's
for
had a few podiums.
Yeah, he's got a few podiums. He's a great driver. He's definitely shown the talent and has done a great job. But someone else doing that great job is Krista Nelson. Let's go back to 8th now, underneath Samo Lampret. Samo in that Gamebridge car, and Krista continuing to work the bottom. Those are 3 words that you will not hear much.
I guess so, yeah. So Krista Nelson has raced here before in VOR. So season 2, we ran this track as a season opener too, as she gets to move on to move up another position. She actually finished in P6 here 2 seasons ago, the season opener for season 2 of the VOR IndyCar series. So she knows this track quite well, because different tire model back then, but the racing more or less is the same.
Let's actually go on board with Kristen. Let's watch her. She's running 4th gear here. Lets the car roll up the track as Alex Van de Sant comes to pit road. So here comes the pit stops, actually. You know, they went a lot longer than I thought. 26 to 84. That's almost 60 laps on a tank.
Was yellow, though, you have to add as well.
Right, but, you know, I didn't think that would make that much of a difference here. But let's jump to Alex on pit road here real quickly. Alex Van de Sant, there he is in his stall, 4 tires and fuel. I thought they'd be pitting about 75. He went 10 laps longer. So great job on Alex's part, saving that fuel, and he rolls out. Now, I doubt he's going to be able to go 82 laps on a tank of fuel.
Yeah, he will have to pit again, but it will be a short stop at the end of the race, as he's going to lap down now too. So he's a lap down on the race leader. And of course, once this pit strategy is going to play out, he should be able to get back on the lead lap. But we just have to hope for Alex that the yellows fly at the right time, so he doesn't actually get stuck a lap down.
Right, as Shane Coogan now comes to pit road here, and we'll put the pit times down there at the bottom. The number in white that is counting right now, that's total delta on pit road, The number that you're not seeing yet because the word pit is there when he clears will change over to the time of his pit stop. But Gavin getting tires, getting fuel, and there you go, 9.8 for Gavin. Not a bad stop there as he rolls back out. So let's see if this brings any of the other leaders to pit road. Right now, no is the answer, as Gavin's going to roll out. Or Shane, I should say. I don't know why I'm saying Gavin. I'm watching Gavin in the lead. That's why I'm calling him Gavin. So Shane, pardon me, both of you. One of the smartest moves I think IndyCar has ever done is, and you guys do it in VOR, is make pit road go all the way from turn 3 to turn 2, because these cars trying to slow up and you got somebody coming over 200 mile an hour at you, coming to pit road is not probably the most comfortable thing to be going through.
Yep, and there's Tyler Coogan losing a position to one of the race first cars. Can't quite tell who that is.
I believe that's Musselman. Or no, that's is it Tyler Coogan?
Might have been a lapped race first car, actually.
You know what? It is. That was Shane. That actually just went by him. As Samo Lampert comes to pit road. As Samo's going to drive through about 351 pit stalls to get to his pit stall. And in. Yeah, that was Shane in the 29 you just mentioned that got passed up there in that position there. But Samo's going to leave. 4 tires and fuel at 10 seconds flat, so he'll leave. As Sanders leads this thing by 5.5 seconds over Matt Houston, Cohen, and then Kristen Nelson now. And we have these 2 cars, Gavin and Matt Houston, pitted in lap 45. So they can go another, probably 20 laps. No, not the 20. Probably about 10 laps, 10, 15 laps on this tank of fuel, especially if this thing stays green. But AJ Musselman, let's go back here as he is underneath Tyler Coogan. AJ, a pretty good oval racer in these cars.
Yeah, he's actually been racing in the Lionheart League as well. So one of the more popular leagues around iRacing, also more of the high class iRacing leagues around too. A lot of great drivers racing in there. We also have Luis Gonzalez Nunez racing in that league. He raced with us for 3 seasons as well. Unfortunately not racing this season. We hope to have him back next season, but he is doing great in that league too.
Krista working the bottom on Cohen Evans here, going to take the 3rd position away. You mentioned Lionheart. When you have Paul Page doing a promo for you, you're doing something right.
As an owner of VOR, I'm actually quite jealous of them.
Well, I would be too. Absolutely. I saw them like, man, I want to be that good.
I think there's many leagues out there that want to be as good as them, but
hey, kudos to them. But let's see who's on pit road now. Sadiq is on pit road, back in the 18th position right now. But we're going to watch Cohen here because he's under attack from a lap car, I believe, here, right behind Krista. So now you're starting to see where these tires, the fresher tires, are working their way through here. But Krista's still working that bottom line, which is impressive.
She might be running quite a bit of weight jacket, but that's going to wear out the rear tires a lot though. So watch her for a few laps, and her pace might drop off quite a little bit.
Something else she's doing that could be sneaky too here, Julian. She's got her right side tires above the first seam, which is another degree of banking, which could help loosen the car up if she's tight. Well, now here she kind of misses the corner and slides up a little bit, but I've noticed that in turn 1.
It might actually help her. Yeah, that's a very good spot there.
Let's see if she gets down to it this time. Below it right now. Now she's so she just rode the regular bottom line there. So of course now I say it, she doesn't do it. So that's the way that works. But Coogan and Musselman continue to battle here as Sanders leads at lap 97. Lights are on here in Homestead. All right, so Musselman makes the pass on Tyler Coogan. And the lap car of Alex Van de Sant, who is hoping we have more green flag pit stops here. Working his way here through the field. And I think the best bet for a lot of these cars right now is for this thing to stay green.
I'm not sure about it. There might be some people that are really hoping or even praying for yellow to kind of get themselves back into the mix. I'm seeing a lot of drivers that are more or less 10 seconds off the pace right now, of the race leader, I should say. So if a yellow comes out, that will help them. We only have 9 cars on the lead lap at the moment, so it will be the top 9 that would really benefit from a yellow right now. Of course, 10th down to actually 18th right now. Wouldn't really benefit from that at all. We also have 18 cars running, so 8 people out of the race, unfortunately, so far. The last car running at the moment is Nicolas Sadiq, who is 18 laps down in P18. But going back to the pit strategy, that's going to be interesting to see when it comes out, because that will really affect the outcome of the race.
Well, we don't like the word when. If. We're predicting at that point then. We don't want cautions. We like good racing. But no, on the serious side, though, what strategy do you think you would have seen yourself doing? Would you have rather been somebody like Nelson, Cohen, Musselman? These guys are probably, as Gavin's coming to pit road now, they're probably going full tilt because they're going to come to pit road at about 40 to 50 to go, so they're going to be set on one stop, no problem. These other guys are more saving to get to that one stop.
Yes. Honestly, at every 1.5 mile track, if there is a risk of fuel strategy dropping you down the order, I will just save as much as possible to at least run the tank dry, and then if a yellow comes out, it might suit your strategy and help you out at the end of the race. You don't really lose as much saving as you do if you go for it and then get a wrong timed yellow. So just saving as much as possible is probably what most of these drivers will be doing.
There you go, Sanders 10.1 on his stop. And the reason why you're seeing a little bit longer stops here, because these guys got to put more fuel in the car. Obviously, the more fuel takes a little bit longer to get out of that pit stall. So that's why you talked about the short fuel deal earlier. Those cars won't have to spend as much time on pit road because the tires you can change in roughly about 6 seconds. So obviously when you add the fuel in there, that can't be done in 6 seconds. A little bit more for that one. So that hands the lead now to the people who pitted on lap 64. At that caution, Kristen Nelson now leads. Cohen Evans, A.J. Musselman, Craig Forsyth up to 4th, and Tyler Coogan, your top 5 in this faster and faster 250. So let's talk, Julian, on the league side of things. You mentioned Raceverse throwing another $100 pool into the series this season like they did in season number 3. That's got to be something encouraging for the drivers to fight for this season.
Yes, so of course we want to thank Matt first of all for doing that. You can see Matt racing right now in the 12th position, 1 lap down, unfortunately for him. But yes, he's been a great member of the league. He's been sponsoring us in some way or another for a couple of seasons already, whether that's on social media, just helping us promote, or putting in money for the league with the prize pool this season. We have been working together with him for a long time, and we for sure really enjoy it, and we are grateful to have him be putting in that money here for us and our drivers, so that's great to have him. Yeah, of course, like you mentioned, that's something to fight for these drivers. We saw last season Isaac Morris take home the biggest split of it all, $50 for the champion. So that's really what's on the line.
So, curious question, asking for a friend, I guess they say in today's world. Was that American dollars to Isaac, or was that in his currency?
That's in American US dollars, yes.
So I wonder how much Isaac really made then.
Euros, probably 43 euros.
Ah, so I thought about it in my head. I'm like, I wonder how much money Isaac made.
Yeah, but I just remembered actually in Wales and the UK in general, they use pounds, so that's a little different for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not a pounds kind of guy, so I don't really know what the currency is over there.
Yeah, somebody, if anybody's watching across the pond right now, if anyone knows that currency transition there from dollars, American dollars to pounds, please let me know. So we got 7 cars on the lead lap, Julian, and Gary Godsoe's the last one. Gary Godsoe is the equivalent of that stock car driver that sits in the back at Daytona and Talladega every race there and waits for all the wrecks to happen and then shows up at the front.
That is kind of Gary's strategy, yes, in every race. Whether it's a pack race or just a race like this where the tires fall off, you're going to have people going into the wall at some point anyway, because some people might not really expect the aero push to push them into the wall. So it's very easy as a driver to hit the wall when the tires go off, especially. And of course, when you're pack racing, not a style of racing that we really promote, but that's quite easy to happen. So yeah, what Gary's strategy is just sit in the back, finish the race, and remember the golden rule of any racing category: to finish first. You first have to finish.
Yes. Now it's funny you bring up the pack racing thing, and I know that's something that's changed recently, because I remember running about 2 or 3 races in season 2, and I remember one particular race at Auto Club Speedway where.
Yes.
You and I battled for the lead because it was a pack race, and I actually felt like, hey, I actually can compete with these guys for a minute.
Yeah, it was so easy that race to just hold the inside line, because nobody could get by on the outside. Yeah, just turn left, go fast. And every time my teammates ask me for advice, I just jokingly say turn left, go fast. Then they get really annoyed at me because I constantly say that. But it is very easy to just hold the inside line, and of course the inside line is the shortest way around the track. So yeah, if you hold that inside line, you can really just maintain the lead in a pack race. Of course, in the 2015 real life California race, it was a little bit different, where the outside line was actually the dominant line. But yeah, it is a very interesting style of racing, to say the least.
Yeah, actually, we had that a little bit this week in Kansas for the Indy Fix series. I ran the bottom, and somebody pulled a snicker move on me and went to the apron and passed me on the front straightaway. I was like, I should have known this might be coming, but I didn't think the guy would actually do it. And it cost me later on. But anyways, I see Sean over in chat mention a Joe P. For those who don't know that joke, Joe Petrick, a guy I've known for years, is, as I think about it now, the Gary Godso around me. At any track, he will be the last car to come to pit road under caution, and he will sit back and just ride. And he will let you go on past him to put him a lap down, 2 laps down. You could be 100 laps down later on in the race because he's just letting you go and just ride. But somehow, there's Joe Petrick in the top 10 at the end of the race. Happens all the time.
Sounds like a carbon copy of Gary.
Yeah, we'll call Gary the open wheel version of Joe. We ought to have them meet each other and have them race against each other. I wonder how that would work. You lead. No, you lead. No, you lead. As Anthony Concha making a move inside Tyler Coogan. Concha, a new driver, I believe, at least a new one to me. I've not heard his name before. But, of course, I hear the name Concha. I think of the old Nintendo video games before you were born.
Right.
Anthony doing a great job.
Yes, Anthony has been with us. This is his second season, actually. He's, I believe, done a part-time season last year. Missed a couple of races last year in the season, of course. Well, it kind of was last year, actually, because it was... No, it was this year. Never mind. It was actually the 2nd of January 2021 that we started season 3. But Concha has been with us since season 3, so this is his second season racing with us. And you can see that he's fighting for the front positions on the grid, so it's good to see as Gary makes his way past Tyler Coogan, who's just gone into the pits.
Now, interesting enough here, I just looked over here at the grid, or not the grid, but where everybody started in this race. You got a leader who started 27th. You've got 4th who started 23rd. 5th started 20th, 6th started 25th, 7th now coming to pit road started in the 26th position. All these people in the back are the ones in the front right now.
Yes, and that is mostly down to the strategies playing a part in the running order right now. Of course, we are seeing a couple of drivers pit now. They have 50 laps to go, so the pit window is now open to get to the end of the race. You might have to save just a little bit, but you can overall make it to the end quite easily. As we are seeing a lot of position changes happening with those pit stops.
Yeah, so this opens up the window for these people. This might ultimately be the race for the win right here. This group of people.
Yes. You're right. Yeah, so we still have a couple of people that are off strategy, of course, that have to save quite a lot of fuel. So they're either going to be caught or they have to pit again. So they are really just a sitting duck at this moment in the race. With 49 laps to go now. Lap 19 of 167 now. As Forsyth also pits.
So let me put you in this spot for a second, Julian. I sort of asked this, but I'm going to ask now in a little bit of a different way. If you knew that you were about to go the last 48 laps, no cautions, would you rather be the person that pitted on this lap and be the one that can go full? Oh, somebody's wrecked on the inside. Oh, that's so Sadiq is wrecked. Nicholas Sadiq is wrecked in the infield over here, turn 2. No caution. But that Taco Bell, we have a smashed taco, unfortunately, in the infield of turn 2. And he is towed. But I was starting to ask him, we'll look at the replay here, what happens to Nick, but would you rather be the guy that's able to go hard to the finish or the one that's saving fuel and trying to work its way to the finish?
I think that is quite an easy answer. It's really just go to the finish.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure. Which then goes back to, man, I'm not questioning any driver. I'm not one that does this, but again goes back to the pit stop that didn't happen with some of these cars at that last caution.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question, but overall, I think overall, if you are in the position to go to the end and run as hard as you can, I think every driver really prefers that, because then you can just cut through the field like you aren't even there, because there's people around you that are going to have to save fuel, and you can really just pass them like they're not even there.
My only guess with that is they were maybe, like you said, maybe they were hesitant a caution to come out. But then you're kind of risking coming to pit road and being a lap down that whole entire run. So it's kind of like there's a lot of like a catch-22 situation by doing that. But you know what? These people are better than I am. You guys are better than me.
That really brings me back to a point that I made earlier. So on these 1.5 mile ovals, of course, this is a relatively short oval. It's not a short oval by definition, because it is still quite big. 1.5 miles in length is quite big for an oval. That's why you're seeing the Speedway wins as well. But 1.5 miles, that is gone in about 20 seconds if you stand still. So that's why you see these drivers drop 1.5 to 2 laps to the race leader by pitting earlier. And if then the yellow comes out, there's no way to recover that disadvantage that you have. So that's why, as a driver, you have to go as long as possible. Even if you have to save fuel, you don't like it. No driver likes to save fuel, but sometimes you have to do that in order to get a good result. If you have to finish with 2 laps to go, those 2 laps are never going to be made back up.
So Shane Coogan leads this race over Gavin Sanders, Alex Van de Sant, Matt Houston, Dakota DeMed. And I'm going to throw up the pit strategy on the screen here. And yes, it's going to look like a jigsaw puzzle. Shane Coogan, 38 laps on his run, so he pitted at lap 85, so probably in the next 10 to 15 laps he'll be on pit road. Gavin Sanders, 24 laps on his run. Likely going to see him probably on lap, if I had to guess, 150 to 155, so about 10 laps to go unless he short fills. You got Van de Sant, he was an early pit stop, so the guy we need to watch right now is Cohen Evans in 6th. Cohen pitted at lap 116 and is on his 8th lap right now. He's got about a half second on Samo Lampret, but Samo pitted at lap 88. And then Musselman is the next car in line, about a second and a half back. That might end up being the race for the lead right here and for the win of this race. By the way, hello, Drift. Thanks for watching.
Yes, I think that's the most likely situation right now with these drivers. Like you said, a lot of drivers still have to pit, so if there's not going to be a yellow, they're going to be out of this race.
And that, I'm guessing, is what these drivers are planning on right now. They're hoping that a yellow comes at this moment.
Yes. So you will also see them that they're not really trying to race anybody. They're just trying to stay in line, perhaps save a little bit of fuel to go longer, as I've said earlier, and hopefully get a well-timed yellow to at least keep them in the race for the win. But it's looking like a long green flag stint so far, which is really good to see, actually, that a lot of drivers are able to battle and still keep it clean. So yeah, that's really nice. And we have 40 laps to go now, so we will have to wait and see if we can keep it clean and green to the end.
Well, and also in fairness too, and I think this is a compliment to you and the series, you've got, your top 6 cars run with each other a ton, and not to mention 5 of those 6 run in, the TI league that I broadcast on Monday nights, which is like a twin league, I guess, so to say. One all road courses, one all ovals. So they all run together there, and Gavin runs with them also at times on the ovals, so he knows these guys a lot. So until you get down to Samo, maybe Krista a little bit, you got a lot of these guys that race with each other in multiple leagues.
Yes, so that's really something that these drivers will have to keep in the back of their minds. Some drivers you might know from other leagues, that are clean, but you also have, of course, the drivers that you don't really trust that well from other leagues. So that's something that these drivers will be keeping an eye on. But of course, like you've mentioned, the top 5 drivers know each other quite well. They know that they are all quite clean. We actually, Matt Houston, he has been driving in the top split of the iRacing IndyCar series a couple of seasons ago. That's actually how I started to know him. I was joking around with him in the beginning of our friendship, like Matt the O for God Houston. So I was always kind of looking up to him, trying to be as good as him. And now I'm racing against him in this series, actually, and actually also running this league with him. He's, of course, the biggest sponsor of the league with a $100 prize pool, but also a co-admin of us. But going back to the story about knowing each other, so yeah, these drivers will be quite comfortable racing with each other.
So you saw Dakota DeMay made his pit stop here. Another name I've been working on, Dakota DeMay, not DeMed, DeMay. Just pitted with about 47 laps to go, so he's got 4 new tires and is out there. I see Jose Miguel Phillips Viguera has put his car behind the wall. He apparently got loose on a restart in turn 1, apparently in chat. So unfortunately for Jose, who I say congratulations to, you officially have the longest name in VOR history. You're in the record books.
It's an award, but not an award that
wins you anything.
I think you won, yes.
Oh, why not? I mean, unless John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt signs up for the league, then he's safe.
That is true, yes.
His name's my name too, by the way.
Okay.
That's a song. I don't know if you know that. There's a song there.
You had me lost for a second.
Okay,
there.
It's a song. A lot of people will know that. Gavin Sanders, Alex Van de Sant, your top 3 with Matt Houston. I'm sure a lot of people are like, he just said that in this stream. Is probably going to be the words out of their mouth. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Alex Van de Sant coming to pit road in that Happy Trails Chili Mix car. So a lot of chat I've been hearing about this week on racing podcast are about the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That track, one at IndyCar used to race that back in the day, but a track that has their pavement hasn't been paved since 1997. And there talks about that track being repaved. And a lot of people have brought up, if you're going to repave this, you need to find the person that repaved this track, Homestead, and tell them to go repave that Atlanta track. Because, some say this is one of the coolest tracks to go out here and race at. Because of the multi-groove banking, or I should say the multi-banked corners, and all the fun that you can have at this track.
I think if you repave the track, though, like, I'm not a NASCAR fan myself, even though I do watch some of the races, but I think if you repave a track, there's always going to be some differences to the characteristics of the track. So I'm scared with a lot of repavements of any track, really, that they're kind of just going to kill the flow of it. And of course, with some repaved tracks, you don't really have that as much, like Indianapolis, for example. But really, the old pavement is really what creates the legacy of a track. You have that with the Milwaukee Mile as well. That hasn't been repaved in about 20, 30 years as well, I do believe. So, yeah, that's really part of the characteristics of the track, and that really what creates the legacy of the track, too.
Well, I think also the surrounding areas play a role, too. I mean, you got this track here sits pretty much right on the Atlantic Ocean as you go down into the Keys. You look at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, for instance, it's just south of the city, a little bit more of a hilly area, not really the mountains yet in that area. Then you look at, say, Charlotte Motor Speedway, another hilly area, but more sand dunes over in that area and stuff from, things like, so there's so many different settings, I think, of a racetrack also that play a role here as Gavin Sanders leads by 13 seconds over Matt Houston. And again, the battle we're watching right now, we've got out of the corner of our eye, is this race right here for third, as AJ Musselman has it down to about a second on Cohen Evans. Unless a yellow comes out, we believe this is the race for the win with these two cars.
Yes, I just saw Alex Van der Sant unlap himself from Musselman. Of course, they're not racing for position. But Alex is on the move with his fresh tires. But like you've mentioned, Musselman and he's racing for the race lead right now. So he knows that he has to keep up his game, be aware of what's happening around him. I think he is good to go to the end. So I think if he stays where he is right now, there's nothing for him to really worry about, other than the cars that he's racing, of course. But they're quite a way back from him right now.
Gavin Sanders to pit road here. He was the leader. It's going to hand it to Matt Houston. And Gavin, a real quick 8.3 second stop. So I'd say a little bit of a short fill there. That's why the pit stop was quick. So
I think they travel around the width of a football field, or the length of a football field, I should say, every second. So that is just going to show how much time you're going to lose or gain by having a long or short pit stop.
Right. Now, unless you're in Canada, football fields are 100 yards. Actually, technically 120 from end zone to end zone, because you got to count the 10 yards in each end zone. People don't think about it like that. People think from the goal line to the goal line, it's 100 yards.
I think this is perfect for the big brain meme.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's some things people say I'm smarter than in other categories. So my wife always tells me that I should have been a math guru. I'm like, yeah, no.
That's something that I don't actually understand. How can you be good in math, man?
Well, and you know what I explain? And here's the thing. So my wife will explain to me, well, and I'll use racing terms to do this. She'll say, hey sweetie, what's 30% or what's 20 or 30% of 167 laps? So here's the math I do in my head right off the bat. What's half of 167? 160, it's 83 and a half. Okay?
Yes.
So 83 and a half, divide that in half, which is 25%. So 83 and a half, you come out to 46.5. Okay?
7.5.
Or 40, is it 47.5? No, 47.5 would be 85. It is 46.5, yeah. So, okay. So that's 25% right there. So you know that if that's 25%, you got to go up a little bit. So roughly, it would be 48 to 50 laps, somewhere in that range. It's all about just looking at numbers you use constant and just guesstimating off of it. That's how you do it.
Or you just whip out the calculator.
You can do that too. That's probably the easy way, but I look at that as an easy way out. If you're going to do it right. Think about it. And then pull the calculator out.
To make sure that your answer is correct, yeah.
Right. Kind of like right now.
I do that in school all the time.
Kind of like right now. I'm pulling out the calculator to do that math real quick.
Right then. So we've currently got 20 laps to go. Matt Houston is still in the lead, but we do believe that he's yet to pit. Cohen Evans is currently in P2. AJ Musselman P3. Kristen Nelson is currently in P4, with Craig Forsyth rounding off the top 5.
50.1.
There you go. Good math.
Now, what's funny is I can do all that math in my head, but yet if you ask me to do percentage on a calculator, I can't figure it out. It takes me a second to be like, do I multiply this or do? Anyways, so yeah,
I think you have to do it times 1.30.
Which is that? Well, what I did was 167 multiply. I did multiply by 0.3 by 30 or 0.30. I'm sorry, you're right. As Houston's going to come to pit road now at 19 laps to go, so we are now set up to the point where now these cars should be able to make it to the finish, and I noticed that they're getting a little bit closer to each other. As Cohen Evans leads AJ Musselman and Krista Nelson, it's all about 2 seconds separating the three of them. As a matter of fact, there's Cohen, there's AJ, and there's Krista on the screen for that split second.
I do believe the entire top 5 can go to the end now. And actually, looking at the positions gained so far, Cohen Evans has gained 6. Musselman has gained nothing and lost nothing, so he is still in P2 where he started. Kristen Nelson gaining 24 positions from the start of the race. Craig Forsyth gaining 19. Gary Gotso gaining 20 by driving to survive, as his strategy is called.
Pretty much.
5 position gain for Shane Coogan, and 7 positions gained for Gavin Sanders, and for Anthony Conchep, 12 positions gained. And I do believe the entire top 8 is good to go now. So Yeah.
I am sending out a message to my buddy Sean, who's watching on the stream right now. Which, by the way, thank you to the viewers to watch in our first league race tonight with VOR, our first our debut tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I appreciate Julian, even though in unforeseen circumstances, joining me in the booth tonight. So on a positive side, I hope you don't join me again for a positive reason.
No offense to you.
Yeah, right. You understand. Oh, Gary, easy. He slid up on that Coogan car then at 29. But, we've had a pretty good race tonight. I think we've had almost up to 20 or so viewers tonight, so not a bad number. A good way to start there, so I appreciate everybody. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We actually have another race coming up afterwards. So when I'm done with you guys, I get to stop for a couple minutes, and we get to go run some Xfinity or B cars over at Road America on a road course. So just carry yourselves over, all of you, and join that stream afterwards if you got nothing to do tonight.
And you've mentioned earlier in the broadcast that you broadcast the iRacing League as well. I always joke with one of their admins, calling the NASCARs. I will not say the first part of the word because it is not suitable for the broadcast.
Oh.
But it is a 4-letter word and then box. That's what I think of the NASCARs. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
Hey,
I don't think NASCARs belong on a road course personally, but it's the type of racing that you prefer.
You know what's weird is a lot of older generation people, like our parents and stuff, would say something like that. But the new generation of fans that are my age, I'm in the mid-30s, so you look at somebody maybe a teenager up to the mid-30s, and I'll eliminate you out of this category because you actually are born, over waters, so you're international. You're over in the international.
I don't count. Yes, I don't count.
I'm not going to say you don't count. Everybody counts in life, but when you look at the demographic of NASCAR, it's not you, unfortunately. But a lot of those people love the road races. Probably because they beat the living tar out of each other on the track, but
That's true, yes.
Sometimes
when
the best racing is what they don't know.
I think of Daytona, Talladega, those super speedways.
Right. To be expected.
And the All-Star race at Charlotte, too.
Which, by the way, teammates battling here. This is actually the first cars a lap down, the 11th position. Matt Houston gets by Dakota DeMay. And Matt with 20-lap newer tires. So I'm sure the handling on Dakota's car is playing a role right now. So Krista has actually lost about a second, but Musselman has got the fishing pole out, and he is slowly reeling, going in. He's down to about 9/10 of a second right now. Well, and that's not going to help him as Matt Houston goes by. I'm sure that's going to hurt his momentum a little bit, but 9 laps to go. I remember you guys on Discord have a sign-up page. Sorry, I almost lost my train of thought there for a second. A sign-up page on the Discord. Cohen Evans, I remember, signed up probably a week ago for the league. I mean, it was recently he jumped in for this season, and here he is now 8 laps away from winning this race here at Homestead, and it would be his first career win according to the numbers here next to me. He would become the 12th winner, I think it is. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 12th winner in this series history.
That just goes to show how competitive this league really has become over the course of, 3 seasons and a bit. Of course, we are racing in the season opener here tonight. So, yeah, of course, I just quickly want to throw a quick plug out there. Yeah. So if you are looking for an IndyCar league, we have a Discord link, which I will post in the chat in a second. You can join that and join the IndyCar series. We also have an F1 league on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern US time to kind of, I guess, for the road course drivers. So if you're interested in that too, you can join that too. But the IndyCar series, highly competitive. So if you think you've got what it takes, then have a look at signing up.
Yeah, I definitely have had I was actually going to run this season before some things happened, and I ended up in the booth, which was probably better for everybody. So
don't say that.
You don't have to worry about me being a roadblock on the track. So, but you see Cohen letting some of these fresher, tired cars go past, as he's got about a second and a half. But the other factor in this too, you mentioned, is you talk about 11 different winners in this series so far in the 3 seasons. Your races are only 9 race seasons. So you've only run, this is race, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have run 9 races every year. Then this is race number 28 of the whole entire league. And you've had 11 different winners. So here's that percentage number again coming into play. That's a little over 25%, right about 30%.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop with the math now. 4 laps to go. Cohen Evans, can he make it on fuel? If he does in the end, he will run 51 laps to get to the finish. AJ Musselman second. Kristen Nelson looking for her podium in her first race. And by the way, shout out to you, Julian, for you and Robert putting this league together and allowing me to be a part of it. Awesome. The Twitter stuff you guys do, social media, great job on that. I know you're always on there tweeting and stuff for the league and whoever really does. I don't know if it's actually you or not, but shout out to you guys for doing a great job on that and keep that up. You can give them a follow. What is it, VOR Racing on Twitter?
At Velocity OR.
Okay, there you go. Yes. Velocity OR. So.
Social media manager. I like the name of that. But anyway, going back to the race, we have 2 laps to go. Cohen Evans is really saving a lot of fuel, but I'm quite confident that he's going to make it to the end. So he's going to cross the line right now for the white flag for the faster and faster 250. 1 lap to go. Yep,
final lap. Here he is. Cohen Evans going to cross the line. And 1.5 miles to go in this race as he goes up into the turn number 1 and 2 section, riding right here behind the number 7 of Samo Lampret. He's got Musselman about 1.3 seconds back. It is not going to be enough, and tonight Cohen Evans going to start in the 7th position to use pit strategy, pitting at the last caution and going the rest of the way and scoring his first career victory in the faster and faster 250 in Homestead. Kicking off the season with a win as Cohen Evans has crossed the line. Musselman going to be second. Kristen Nelson, podium for third. Shane Coogan, Gavin Sanders, your top 5. And Cohen going to be pretty excited to get that win. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, he was one of the late bloomers to sign up for the league. And I'm sure if Jim Herrick's watching right now, he's going to be smiling seeing that sponsorship on the car, the LMC gear.
Give us some exposure.
Honda, absolutely. Great website, great guy there, Jim is. He actually signed up, I think, yesterday. I think he's going to try to run part-time or something like that over here in the future. So looking forward to seeing Jim, and we'll see if Cohen's going to throw some donuts down here or not. He pulls up to the line. There he goes. Let him rip.
Oh, that's the wall.
Oh, never mind. He's done. That's not how you do it. But then again,
I don't think he cares.
That actually might make the donuts easier to do. Yeah, I think he's like, I just killed the car. So we'll let the Julian. We'll let you go get your social media on, and we appreciate you, man, joining us tonight. Appreciate you helping me out a little bit this evening, and for the insight. And we'll see you next week in the Irish Hills of Michigan.
Yes, thank you very much for letting me join in, and see you all next week.
Absolutely, nice job, Julian. Appreciate him joining me. Unfortunately, Julian wrecked on lap 1, so that's why he was joining me tonight. But I do appreciate him being a good sport and coming and joining me in the booth here this evening. But what we'll do is we're going to let you see the finishing order up at the top of the screen, as we always like to do. As you see Cohen Evans being the winner of the race. We'll get Cohen in here in a second. We'll talk to the drivers in the race. Who's on first? He didn't participate. You see AJ Musselman, P2 in this race. Kristen Nelson started in the back, finishing third. Shane Coogan, Gavin Sanders. How about Craig Forsyth? And Gary Godso going to be happy with a top 10 finish. Gary Godso might be climbing the fence at Homestead right now celebrating. I could totally see that happening. Oh, here they are. They're down here in the IndyCar lobby. Unfortunately, it's locked out. I can't get to that channel. So let's see if I can get them up to me. I think I can. So let's do that. As Kristen Elsa joins us. Krista, congratulations. We had Julian up here in the booth with us, and he was talking about how you ran here 2 seasons ago, got yourself a 6th place finish. But the elephant in the room for us to ask you is how did you make the bottom line work for so long?
Well, basically, I just kept reminding myself to not push down on the gas pedal too hard until I was well off. Because really, especially in turn 4, it pushes late, as far as I can tell. You feel like you're at the top of the apex, and you should be able to plant it and come off nice, but it pushes way out. So if I could wait until I got just past the apex, it would keep going.
Now, a great strategy on your part there helped you get this P3. Talk about that strategy call. You guys come to pit road there at the last caution of the race, and it set it up to where it basically made it a one-stop strategy. Did you have to save any fuel or anything to get it to the finish?
I did. I was saving the last stint. I was saving pretty intensely. It's like fuel map 5 and just trying to stay in somebody's toe, anybody's toe. And till the last couple laps, I saw somebody starting to catch me and cranked it up just a little bit just to get it to the end. But I have to really thank my teammates for that. They were helping coach that part because I'm not a great fuel saver.
Well, you did a fantastic job this evening. Nice job. 24 spots gained up to 3rd from 27th. Send shout-outs whoever you'd like to.
Well, obviously, I got to thank my team, Turn 4 Racing, AJ and Nick. They did most of the coaching through here. I got to thank you for your broadcast. Thank the admins of the league for putting this whole thing together. And I actually also want to thank LMC Motorsports, or Motor Coach, my normal team in Dark Horse. They have taught me a lot in the last several weeks, and I appreciate my time with them too.
Absolutely. Well, nice job, Krista, and your finish, and good luck. We'll see you next week in Michigan.
Forward to it. Michigan's a good track. Have a good one.
It is a fun one. So nice job there as Krista finishes 3rd. Let's go down here and see if our other drivers are waiting. They are waiting on me. And let's get AJ Musselman here, and we'll move Krista back up there as AJ joins us here this evening. AJ, great second-place run for you tonight. You definitely had your ups and downs. You started second, though. You finished second, but I think at one point you ran in every position in this race at one point. Throughout the field, though, as you had to make passes, and your strategy paid off and got yourself a top 2.
Good evening, Chris. Yeah,
Hello.
What a great result for Turn 4 Racing. Chris is my teammate, so it was great to see both of us get P2, P3. Strategy-wise, yeah, it worked out in our favor there. I don't understand why the leaders, stayed out that one yellow, but that worked out for us. Started up in this, P2, and then there was at one time at restart, that second restart, where I got too low, kind of clipped the apron, had to check up, lost a ton of track position, and then it was just all about, making a comeback from that.
Yeah, and it definitely paid off for you when it was all over with. And you mentioned that strategy. Talk about that for a second, because it sets you up to where you just made that one stop at around 50 laps to go to get you to the finish. Was that something that you knew at that point you could go do at this, or did you know you were kind of taking a chance and saying, all right, I can do this now, and I think I can get to this point to get to the finish?
Oh, no, I knew we could make it from there if you pitted. So after I saw that the leaders stayed out, I was like, okay, let's do something different then, because I don't want to be the oldest one, the one with the oldest tires back here getting past. So I was like, all right, we'll give up the track position now. We'll get it back later. And yeah, I did the math real quick in my head and decided to, take tires and fuel there. And sure enough, one stop to the end. Man, Cohen did some really good job working the fuel there. He pitted 4 laps before I did, and I was really impressed that he was able to make it.
Yeah, they always say in racing, if you follow the leader, guess what? You're going to finish behind the leader the whole time. So you got to do something different sometimes. Well, AJ, nice job, man. I see out of Phoenix, it's going to start getting really, really hot in the near future there. So shout out to you for staying cool, and send shout outs to whoever you'd like to.
Yeah, just a shout out to my team, Turn 4 Racing. Really happy with Krista's finish there. Nick had a sim crash there halfway through, unfortunately. But shout out to all of my fans, all my friends. We'll see you guys see you at the next race.
Absolutely, AJ. Hey, nice job, man. We'll see you in Michigan, buddy. Absolutely. AJ Musselman finishing in the second position tonight. There are nothing wrong with a runner-up finish for him. We will move him up. and let's go get this winner and bring him back to victory lane. It's someone that I'm used to talking to, and as I'm thinking about this really quickly in my head. Cohen, did you win the first race that I did for TI also?
Maybe. You know what race that was?
It was... I got to remember now. I got to think back. But I'm sitting here having deja vu to a second here. But here you are back in victory lane, though, in our first race for Velocity Online Racing. A great strategy move.
Yeah, I kind of only felt like I had one strategy. I wasn't going to pit when I was only 5 laps short. So I thought I might as well try. And if I run out, I run out. But there's no way I was going to pit when I knew I could save enough.
How confident were you that you could make it to the finish from that on one stop?
Not much. Not very confident. I very quickly I saved to make it to like lap 135 and then lap 136, but then that last lap just took forever for me to end up saving. But it worked out in the end, thanks to some lap cars who let me draft off them.
Yeah, I was going to say the 7 was running up there ahead of you a little bit, just riding, and you were able to keep it at about a second from AJ when it was all over with. But I was just talking, me and Julian were in the booth together since Julian had issues on lap 1, but you were one of the late bloomers for the series. I remember seeing you sign up about a week ago, or it might have been less than a week ago, and here you are in victory lane. I guess that ended up being a blessing, huh?
Well, I had plans to run this series for a while. I just kind of procrastinated on that part.
Well, it worked out for you, and I just checked, actually. Mid-Ohio was that first race, and you didn't win. So you finished second in that race. So, hey, it works out anyways. But nice job, man. Congratulations. You're the point leader. Let's go ahead and throw that out there, too, after one race. And send shout-outs whoever you'd like to.
I'd shout out my teammates at LNC Gear, Jim, for being the team owner, and lncgear.com. Go check it out.
Absolutely. It's lightweightmotorcyclegear.com. Make sure you go check that out. Cohen, nice job. Congratulations. Go for 2 at Michigan.
Yep, sure will.
Absolutely. Cohen Evans, your winner here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Congratulations to him on the win. So that is going to wrap it up for us, as I'm going to take off and go get ready for another broadcast that I get to do here in just a few minutes. Part of a series that I actually help admin and run USRC. It's called United Sim Racing Championship. We are running the Sunset Arctic Games, yes, Dakota to May, sponsoring the series, Grand National Series at Road America. So if you want to see some stock cars on a road racing track, we'll be on the air in about 25 minutes, 9:45 or so. I got to get the stream all set up for that and go from there. But appreciate all the viewers watching tonight. Great debut here on Captain TV. We're looking forward to 8 more races of this coming up, starting next week again at Michigan Speedway for, 300 miles at that track. Definitely a lot of fun. And if you're new to the channel, one thing you're going to get used to me saying is a phrase that I never thought would get anything, but people actually come back and say it to me now, and it makes a lot of sense when it's all over with. As I take off tonight, I'll leave you with it, and just remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
And now the wait is over. The nerves have taken their toll. Ooh. Let go of fear you're holding. The fire smoldering, it's starting all over again. I got a feeling that I ought to know it, burning inside. I got a feeling that I ought to know it, yeah. Every time I break the wheel, I begin to feel I know what I'm in for. A white knuckle ride. You got a fix for me, you know what I need. Oh, it's a breakneck speed. Might as well enjoy the ride.
Be strong.